Welcome to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship, where we keep it real about what it takes to build, grow, and thrive. Here, you'll hear the unfiltered journeys of women entrepreneurs from everywhere, the wins, the setbacks, the lessons, and the behind the scene truths of aligning, starting, and scaling our businesses with purpose. Because let's be real, this road ain't always pretty. From battling self doubt to juggling responsibilities and facing the pressures to have it all figured out, this hustle can be pretty heavy. That's why this space exists to fuel you with the motivation, drop strategic gems on the topics that matter most, and remind you you are not in this alone. This is the Woman's Hustle. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Coach Kay. You know I'm back with another dope session. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. If you see me on YouTube, then you see I am not by myself. I have a return guest coming to bless Upgraded Mindsets Media, and I'm super happy to have her back. And I am going to allow her the honor of introducing herself again. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? So I am Marci Grossman, CPA, and I am we'll just say longtime certified public accountant.
Yes.
I have been doing this for decades, talking to people about their finances, their taxes. I have worked with businesses. I have worked with individuals. I have been in the profit sector, the nonprofit sector. I am all around the place just talking about money.
I love it. I love it. And yes, we have had several conversations surrounding this. Marcy was so I was just so grateful to be on the Money Marcy podcast and really sharing and being transparent about my journey because I feel like we don't talk about that enough. And I'm an open book. Y'all know that. So it was just really dope to be able to go on her platform and share more about my story. But I'm going to dive into more why I really wanted her to come to the Woman's Hustle. She was on Empowering Real Talk a few years ago, just dropping some gems. But I also want her to come and bless the Woman's Hustle because a lot of times, ladies, and you know, I say all of these things out of love. Sometimes we do not know what we're doing when it comes to our finances and elevating our businesses. So I really want to talk to her a little more about that. So thank you so much for joining. There's one question that I want you to answer before we even dive into anything. And that's what's a money myth that you wish would disappear forever?
Myths come from our beliefs, and
Yeah.
our beliefs come from our backgrounds, and we all have different backgrounds. Well, I think I've talked to you before about my feelings about common sense. There isn't common sense because we don't have common experiences. So, a myth, everything I do is let's talk about money. And I think that's the thing is that believing you can just
Breaking
fix
it.
it
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and not realizing that you need to bring other people in to help you figure this out.
I'm so glad you said that because people don't understand when you are really trying to do something that you have never done before, you got to stop thinking that that's something that you can handle by yourself. You don't know what you're doing. Yes, but here's the thing. When we want to start things, great. We have the idea, we have the vision. I love that. But you know that you can't fulfill that vision by yourself. And you know that especially when it comes to starting businesses, it requires money, y'all. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were just like, oh, these young entrepreneurs, some of them think that, that you're just supposed to give them all the game for free. And that is true to a degree. And I'm very kind of meticulous on that because there are some that I know are really trying to get it out the mud and I will give free game and I will, mentor them. But then I also know that there are some that are entitled and they feel like you're supposed to just tell them everything and then pay them for their services once you done gave them all the game for free, right? So it's like, yeah, I know that there's a difference, but I know as talking with women from a coaching perspective, there are a lot of common money mistakes that we do make. And I really want you to share a little bit more about like what we need to be doing when it comes to starting businesses from the financial perspective. So say someone is coming and they're like, I want to start a business. I don't know how to do this. I want to get my LLC. But when it comes to the financial aspect, Marcy, I really would like to hear your insight on where you feel someone should start.
Well, first off, I'm going to back you up a little bit there because there are so many resources that are available for free out there.
Definitely. It
You can listen to
definitely.
my podcast. You can listen to Coach K's podcast. Check out on YouTube. Learn how to use Excel and the other products that are out there for spreadsheets. Excel is Microsoft. It's lovely. I don't have anything negative to say about it, but there's
Right.
also Google, which is free.
Hey,
There is
I love it.
LibreOffice, which is free. So there's a lot of resources out there you don't have to pay for. But when you're going to take up my time for a consultation, you're gonna pay me for it. I
You
mean,
better tell 'em.
that's the nature of it. However, follow me on my podcast, listen to it, and you'll hear me talking to people. You'll learn from their lessons, and there will be a lot of resources and opportunities available to you. There are free courses on all kinds of things that are available. You want to check the resource of the course you're taking to make sure it's valid information, that these are credentialed or certified, or, as opposed to certifiable, which is totally different. But you do want to check on the quality of the resource. But there's so many free resources out there. Hey, I think I'm amazing. Go and get my book, but you can also take it out of the library.
Everybody not gonna tell y'all this, y'all. Go ahead.
I am the biggest believer in libraries, in the resources that are available for people there, whether it's audio or video or a paper book or an ebook. So you can learn a lot for free. But on the flip side, you also need to talk to people, because there are people who know more. There are people who have had different experiences. There are people who have made the same mistakes you're about to make, that take a little bit of time, and you can talk to someone who will, there are networking groups. There's all kinds of resources that don't have to take money. But yeah, but don't be so cheap that you're not willing to pay for the personalized resource that can really help you take the steps forward with your dreams.
Exactly. And I wanna touch on that because I know that we are in the times of AI, right? I know it. I utilize it for a lot of things within the business, so there's no shade throwing. But the one thing that I will never allow it to replace for me is people experience. I think that we have gotten so caught up with just throwing a prompt into the computer and letting that be Bible, right? We think because it spitted something out at us that we don't need to research. We don't need to, I had a client a couple months back that actually did that and realized that it was taken from somebody else that was doing similar work that she did. And that was heartbreaking to her. But it's like, stop thinking that AI is just the biblical where you just need to stop. I love that you touched on, we still need to have personal experiences. We still need to have, I love talking to people. If y'all don't know that by now, I love talking to people. So, not computers. So, although it is a part of the business, it is not my business. And I want y'all to learn the differences between that. Marcy just gave y'all so much free game when it comes to doing your own research, because that is really at the end of the day what it boils down to. Stop throwing a prompt into somewhere and thinking that that's just going to help you grow your business. It can add, but it should not be your primary resource when it comes to scaling on any level and investing in yourself. Because you invested in the pro version of Chat GPT or Copilot Pro or whatever you're using. But why are you not investing in someone coming to talk to you and sharing their life experiences? Marcy has over 30 years of knowledge. When I tell y'all, she drops so much gems on her podcast. Like, but also, I love what she said. Be okay with investing as well. Because if you love what I like to say on my shows, then why would you not reach out and be like, you know what? I really think that you're someone that I could work one on one with to truly scale myself personally, professionally, entrepreneurially. So I love that you said that. And I'm so appreciative of that. Yeah.
You drop amazing wisdom yourself, and I
Thank
think your
you.
your listeners are gifted by what you offer them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
Let's go into I want to talk about, because like since we are talking to the lovely ladies that are on different versions of their journey. In on this show we have women who are thinking about businesses, they're in it but stuck, they're trying to scale. But what do you see, just from like clients, and because you teach and educate a lot, you host groups and things like that, but what do you see when it comes to women, like common money mistakes that you see them making? And why do you think that they happen?
Well, the most common mistakes people make is assumptions. I think I can afford this. Think I can't afford this. I think this is a good investment. I think this is a bad investment without diving into the numbers and getting the real information. People get, I don't know if the word would be lazy or just uninformed.
If you don't want to say it, I'll say it. They lazy. They
Well,
lazy.
yes, no, maybe,
Yeah.
because there are so many different places we're all coming from. But if you're not investing the time to see what your numbers are, to see where they're going. And this is the same whether you're an individual or you are talking about your business. This is the same whether you're one person or a five-person family. Whatever it is, if you're trying to make decisions for a financial result, then you better consider your financial starting point, your financial resources, your financial expectations of expenses. You have to look at all of that. And whether you use a spreadsheet program or your checkbook or a version of an online accounting package, it doesn't matter what you use, but you have to track these expenses and have some kind of idea and some kind of income. I think a huge mistake people make is putting off doing your tax return. Because if you're not taking that information in until March, then you're not really getting a result until April because your accountant isn't going to be able to turn it around in a day. And by the time you are making decisions for the next year, a quarter of the year is gone, a third of the year is gone. And
That's
so
true.
now you're making these adjustments and you want to have your information as timely as possible.
Mm. That you know what? You saying that was like, "Oh, wow," because I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little guilty of it. I've done it, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you just said it, like, a quarter of the year is already done, and you're still, like, kinda backtracking, you know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, y'all, that hit a light bulb in my head.
Right, and it's not necessarily that you physically have your tax return,
Yeah.
but it's all the things you do to get your tax return ready,
Right.
especially as a business person. So you're giving your information to your accountant or you're getting your information from your bookkeeper of your income, your expenses, and whether you have a profit or a loss or where exactly you are. The later you give them your information, the later they give you back that report. The later you have an idea. If we're then going and talking about your tax return, especially an individual tax return, if you're a Schedule C entrepreneur, you now find out that you owe money or you're receiving a refund, it's going to impact your estimates or your withholdings on your other job that you're using to kind of have those withholdings cover your income. So it all rolls together, and the more up to date your information is, the more up to date and accurate your decision making will be.
I was on your show a little while back, and I talked a little bit about the transparency and me being late to the game when it came to learning about financial literacy and understanding. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that, because a lot of times we will hold ourselves back because we don't want to look like we're stupid, we're dumb, we don't know what we're talking about, and they don't do anything because they don't want anyone to know that.
Sure, and I have over time, picked up clients or worked with people because in various positions I've had different relationships with the people that I've worked with. And I'm gonna go back to withholdings and tax returns because that seems to be one of the prime areas that people aren't aware of. And these are intelligent, educated people. They have solid finances, and yet every year they owe taxes or every year they have a huge refund. You should talk to your payroll department about it. These are things like, so it's just because they trusted me enough that we were talking about something else that it came back to that they learned something because they had never known to ask, to say, "You know what? This is crazy. I always owe a bunch of money. I always have this big refund," and it was great when the kids were young, and so this would pay for their summer camp. It was like effortlessly putting aside that money, but I don't need that anymore, and I'd rather have that money in my pocket throughout the year. If you have things going on in your finances that you're like, "Wow, this is something. This is my money." I have not changed by telling them this information. I have not changed anything about their money. I haven't changed anything about their investment strategy. I haven't said, "Stop going out for coffee," or "Don't go out to dinner," or anything like that. This is just moving around when you receive your money or when you pay your money. You have to ask these questions. You have to talk about this information so that you can learn about this information. And the best time to do anything, to start anything new is yesterday, and the next best time is today. Whether it's asking questions, whether it's going to the library and taking a book out, or whatever it is, starting to listen to podcasts. The best time to make that change is now, whether you're 20 or 60. um, your future self is going to appreciate whatever efforts you start doing now.
Yep. And I think it all boils down, and me and you both talk about it a lot, is where our mindset is. Like, if you have the mindset of outdated beliefs that you felt like, were good to you 20 years ago, and you're trying to do something different and something new, those mindset shifts that you had back then are not going to benefit you now. And also, from an entrepreneur perspective, you've never started a business before. You've never done anything towards beginning a business or scaling a business. So therefore, the mindset that you had before you wanted to do that is not going to be the mindset that carries you into elevating and being successful with your business. So I really want people to understand what shifts are required for you to be able to make the moves. That doesn't mean you're going to win every time. That doesn't mean everything you do is going to be successful, but the lessons are going to be learned. And if you have the right mindset, you're going to know that they're lessons, not failures. And now it's just time to go back to the drawing board, come up with a new strategy with your support team, whether that's your accountant, your tax attorney, your coach, as myself. Like, you got to have somebody to keep you into that mindset. And I think that that's super important for us to understand too.
And not only that, that's why these networking groups are so useful. And wherever you are physically located, there is a networking group around you. And some
Facts.
networking groups are industry specific so that you can compare resources, and some of them have, I'm only going to have one accountant and one insurance agent, so that theoretically you grow to refer business to each other. Whichever kind you go to, there's information, there's opportunities to learn by conversing with people who have been there and doing this for longer than you have. They might say, "Hey, here's this software that will help you organize your XYZ that you would have never thought of." And it's important to take opportunities like this and really take advantage of them.
I couldn't agree with you more on that, Marcy.
Having support of different types, having the emotional support
Yeah.
of your spouse, of your parents, of your kids, of your friends is great and beneficial. And
Hmm.
and don't not consider that, don't not appreciate that because it's not necessarily the business oriented, but you need the business oriented, you need those other individuals, and then figure out who you can have which types of
Sure.
conversations
Yes.
with.
Yeah. Be able to take the journey of saying, okay, well, this one might not be a good fit for me, but this one is a great fit. You've got to at least try it, because I'm telling you, you never know. Had I been that person to be like, oh, I don't want to fool with nobody, I don't need that, I would not be here today. So I'm forever grateful for that. As we get ready to wrap up here, there's one thing I want to ask you. As somebody that, talks money all day, every day, what are some like tips that you can recommend to maybe make like smarter decisions when it comes to like our budgeting, maybe credit card, and just debt overall? Because there are a lot of us who may be in debt. We don't want to admit it. You know what I'm saying? But in order for us to move forward and scale from it, I feel like that's a conversation that we need to have.
Well, definitely if you have debt and you have more than one stream of debt, look at those interest rates and determine which one and how you want to pay them off. There are different theories for how you pay off multiple streams of debt, whether you pay off the smallest one first or you pay off the highest interest rate first. I'm not going to tell you which is going to be right for you,
Right.
but make the time to evaluate what your priorities are so you can make the best decision for yourself on these things. And the other thing is when you go to spend money, make sure it's really something that has value to you. We all get that little bit of endorphin when we buy something new, whether it's big or small, and then it ends up in the back of our closet or somewhere in the corner of our desk because it was that little high when we bought it.
Yeah.
A week later, it's just another thing. So be aware of the things that you're spending money on and be more intentional on it. I'm never going to tell someone not to go out and grab that coffee and network or grab that coffee just to get out of your head or whatever it is, but be intentional. I am spending this. It took me X amount of hours or partial of an hour to earn this. Am I getting that much value back from them? Is it helping me to get where I want to go?
Gotta be mindful, you guys. We are in the days where before you even spend it, you definitely need to have that question. You definitely need to answer that question. Is it something of value? From a personal perspective, because I had to shift on all levels. Being intentional about having conversations surrounding money is normal, guys. I want you to understand that it is not some sacred little ritual thing that you need to just have in secret. Be open with talking about your money, you know. Marcy, thank you so much for being here just for one. You know, I could talk to you all day about it, but please let us know what's upcoming in 2026 for you.
I am still working on my second book. So I am collecting stories.
Nice.
Love including stories as examples when I talk about things because I think it just makes the financial lessons more accessible. So if you have stories, please contact me. I know Coach K is going to share my links, and you can always reach out to her to find out how to connect to me. I'm still podcasting. I'm dreaming my dreams of tax season.
Hey, hey, I know you are. I definitely appreciate you coming here, and it's always a pleasure to chat with you. I so enjoy it so much. Just continue to do what you're doing. You are really making an impact, you guys. She has so much powerful things on her website. So I promise y'all will have that information in the show notes. So many.
Did I tell you about the app I wrote on
No,
Android? So it's an Android app. If you have Apple, I'm sorry. They just make
Team
it harder.
Android.
I have an app, Let's Talk About Money, and it helps give you topics. Think of it like a deck of cards that maybe you're sitting with your spouse or your partner or your business partner, whatever, and you can kind of click through to come up with a way to help you get conversation starters to have your conversations. It's not a this is the right answer, this is a wrong answer. It's
Yeah.
not a quiz. It is conversation starters to help you start moving forward.
Love it. I'm so excited. Who gonna have it? But I love it. Thank you so much for sharing it. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Listen, at the end of the day, you're wanting to scale, you're wanting to pivot. So you better get comfortable with having conversations about how your money gonna make that happen. All right. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. Stay empowered, baby.